Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger and my friends. Today in this video, we're talking about throws in Street Fighter. And specifically Street Fighter 6 throws and how it's kind of changing the basic formula. The throw, everyone can do it. It's an important building block for every game it's in. Every character needs throws. Simple as that. Doesn't matter if it's like the big grapplers like Zangief. Your rushdown characters need throws. Your mix-up characters need throws. Heck, even your zoners, your keep-away characters, they need throws too. A throw can be used for offense and pressure, and a throw could be a desperation attack to just get off me, right? And toss you across the screen. The throw is just plain important. End of story. Now, come Street Fighter 6, the recipe is changing just a little bit, which affects how the throw itself works on a basic level and how you interact and use throws. So let's talk about how throws tend to work in Street Fighter, as there's been some universal elements to them for the most part. So starting in Street Fighter 3, throws went to the system you're probably familiar with today, where if you hit light punch and light kick together, you get the throw, and if it connects, well, you throw them, and if not, well, the move whiffs. Different from, say, Street Fighter 2, where throws could not whiff. It was simply forward or back and a button, and if the throw could come out, it did. End of story. And if not, then you just did your move. So there was no throw whiff animation or anything like that. You threw or you didn't. That was the end of the story. Starting with Street Fighter 3, going into 4, 5, and 6, if you whiff a throw, there's an animation, you missed the throw. Not a good thing, because, if you whiff, you can get hit or punished or otherwise, you're held in place a little bit. There's a negative for not connecting your throw. And this is where, I guess you could say, a system started solidifying. So in Street Fighter 3 specifically, how throws work is throws have 3 frames of startup, 1 active frame, and 21 frames of recovery. So you do your throw. The throw, if it connects at all, will hit on the 3rd frame. That's the active frame. And if not, then there's 21 frames of recovery, you finishing the animation. So from start to finish, 24 total frames of animation. So moving forward to Street Fighter 4. So now throws have 3 frames startup, just like Street Fighter 3, 2 active frames, and 20 frames of recovery. So you do your throw, and it can hit on frame 3 or frame 4. It's out there for just a little bit longer, not 1 frame like Street Fighter 3, and then 20 total frames of recovery. So basically, compared to Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4 has 1 more active frame, so it's easier to hit people with throws, 1 less recovery frame, but if you add it all together, if a throw were to whiff, it'd still be 24 overall total frames. Street Fighter 5, the numbers change a little bit. So now throws have 5 frames of startup, so it's definitely slower to connect with a throw, 3 active frames, so they're out there the longest they've ever been, and 17 total frames of recovery. So the startup is now the slowest it's ever been, but it's out there for the longest, and it actually recovers the fastest as well. But if you've been playing along here, if we add up all the numbers, a throw, no matter what from start to finish, as long as it whiffs, is 24 total frames. So the startup, the active frames, and the recovery shift from game to game to game. But overall, if you start a throw and miss, it's 24 overall frames start to finish. So effectively, you can consider that your punish window, if you will. So if you try to jump or backdash or throw or otherwise get out of the way, you only have 24 frames to work with, otherwise they get the block. Now enter Street Fighter 6 and things have changed. The basic throw, which has always been 24 total frames of animation, is now 30 total frames of animation in Street Fighter 6. So, like Street Fighter 5, 5 frames startup and 3 active frames. So it hits on frame 5 and frame 6 and frame 7. The recovery after the active frames is 23 frames, which is the biggest of all the games, Street Fighter 3, 4, 5, and 6. And total from start to finish is 30 frames. So what does this all mean? Are throws just worse now? Well, in a way, yes, but also it opens new possibilities to make throws stronger than ever. So let's talk about the weakness, I guess, and you can see it right here. Common enough scenario in Street Fighter, you block a jump, then they wait and try to throw you. And here you can see Chun-Li, she can backdash it just fine. But since, Street Fighter 6, the throws have more recovery, we can also backdash and punish it. And we can only punish it after the backdash because it's so much slower than the other Street Fighter games. Other Street Fighters, since the throw is 24 total frames of animation, they would have been able to block in time in this scenario versus Chun-Li. It's only because the throw is now 30 total frames of animation, Chun-Li can stick out a button and actually connect. And of course, Street Fighter 6 being Street Fighter 6, connecting means punish counter, punishing the recovery, which is a big deal in and of itself. So basically for Street Fighter 6, the tail of the frame data is simply this. This allows the basic Backdash to be a much better tool versus throws, especially while you're in the corner. Jumps are still pretty slow. This isn't like a grapple, like, a spinning pile driver being whiffed or something, right? Jumps are still pretty slow. So a jump isn't necessarily the answer versus a regular throw in Street Fighter 6, but the backdash has gotten way better against it. Now, to flip over, how has it gotten stronger? Capcom's not about to nerf throws and not give something back to it, right? So one of the ways throws are stronger is throw loops are now officially all the way back, as you can see here. So Ryu goes for the throw here in the corner, whiffs a jab to leave the frames basically at the mathematically perfect point for when the next throw comes in, you can't really do much about it. As you can see here on the side on the inputs, Chun-Li here, that's me. I'm mashing as hard as I can on punch, my jab, my fastest button to get through it, and it does not work. You cannot sneak in any attack that is not invincible through this throw loop. You can either try to get out or throw tech, that's it. Now, say Street Fighter V had throw loops as well, and they were deemed far too strong for the game, and they were, for the most part, removed. Now, come Street Fighter 6, Capcom is welcoming them back with open arms. You will need to learn how to defend yourself against the throw loops, because they're frame perfect and they're scary. Now, not everyone's going to have them here, but, Ryu has them, so that's a good example as any. Now, before you run screaming into the hills that throw loops are back in Street Fighter 6, one thing to note here, as we've gone over in a previous video, is teching throws is the best it's ever been. If you can tech a throw because you know what's coming, like say in a throw loop, you push the opponent back with the throw tech the furthest ever in any of the Street Fighter games, giving you the most amount of room to breathe. It doesn't get you out of the corner or anything like that, right? But it does just give you a chance to think because the spacing between the two characters after the tech is the largest ever. So that's one thing. Now also about backdashes, as we talked about earlier. Against a throw loop, you can always still backdash because you can always backdash your throw, although punishes maybe not so much. In this thing, since the Ryu throw loop is very frame tight here, you do recover before him, but not fast enough to get a punish necessarily. Now the thing is here too, characters do have different backdash timings. Chun-Li in the beta across all the characters, she actually has the slowest and worst backdash. Hers is 2 frames slower than everyone else's, so she can still manage to be +1. So the other characters would be +3, which is still not a punish. But if there's someone to have, say, a 22 frame dash, then this situation would be punishable against Ryu. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. In a lot of ways, throws are now the worst they've ever been due to them just being longer, and a basic backdash works a lot better against a normal throw setup, and you can even punish counter combos. But they also allowed throw loops back into the game with a big seal of approval this time. They don't think they're going anywhere. But now also throw techs are the best they've ever been, pushing the enemy very far back. So in a lot of ways, the throw is weaker and stronger than ever at the same time. So it'll probably be a while before we can appreciate the full weight of everything. I'm just giving you basic examples and other things too, like the shimmy, trying to bait out a throw and punish it. Since the throw has more recovery, it'll be easier to shimmy opponents than ever before for sure. So that'll definitely be a big part of Street Fighter 6. But yeah, it's been a basic mechanic since the start, basically, for Street Fighter, the throw, a basic building block of how the game works. And now just by adding a few frames and allowing certain things that kind of wanted to patch out of the game before back into the game, things are definitely going to be quite different going forward in Street Fighter 6, and I'm excited to see how it's all going to work. So my friends, that is the info for today, and I would love to know your opinion on what you think about this. Just more recovery, throw loops returning, and just everything about it. Just post it in the comments below, and otherwise, hey, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.